Disney Lorcana is a brand new trading card game available to purchase starting August 18th. With a new game comes new challenges, obstacles, and experiences. As Illumineers begin their Lorcana journey, we must all learn the same lessons together. Deck building is one cornerstone of trading card games, and today we are going to work through the process of building 3 decks for 3 unique players. Welcome to LorcanaCast.
And I won't stop until I start to stand out.
Hello, Illumineers, and welcome to LorcanaCast, your Premiere Disney Lorcana Podcast. My name is Sugi, and today we are going to build decks. Now, as a disclaimer, in this episode, it was recorded last week before the Lorcana companion app revealed the entire suite of cards. We hope you enjoy listening to our guests as they build decks from scratch. We are facing the challenges of selecting cards, choosing which cards to cut from the list, and having fun along the way with friends. Let's welcome this week's guest to the show, Just Ink It. All right, Illumineers, we are here with Just Ink It, and we are going to have a blast talking about Lorcana. So how is everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, awesome. Pretty good. There's a lot of us here tonight.
Yeah, we got the whole family. So before we get started, why don't you tell all of our listeners who you are and where they can find you?
Yeah, we're Just Ink It. We're kind of a family. We've got our son likes to do a bunch of the filming. And then me and Gunnar and Leah kind of do a lot of the content, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. We play some 3-player games. We've been doing some tier lists for rides when we were at Disneyland that my wife's joined in on. I know we've talked about doing a separate just Disney only podcast that Leah and Tiff want to do together. And so, yeah, we love the game. We love Disney, and it's just, we've always played card games together.
That's awesome. So where do you post your content so people can find you and listen to your stuff?
Yes, you can look us up on Twitter at Just Ink It, which I hear there's some tattoo parlors that are Just Ink It too that we didn't think through, but it's the one with the Nike sign on it. So there, and as well on YouTube, you can find us there as well at Just Ink It.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. So definitely check them out. They've got some really fun content, as well as a very controversial, shall I say, tier list for Disneyland rides, which I think was a fun.
Yeah,
we might have to revisit some of those ratings later in this show.
Sure.
But right up front, we've had a significant amount of card reveals over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time of this recording, when this goes live, we're going to be a week away or less than a week away from Gen Con. And y'all are going to be there, aren't you?
Yeah, all 3 of us.
I cannot wait to meet you.
Me, Gunnar, and Leah are going to be there, so we're excited.
Okay. I'm a control player, so don't hate me too much.
They're used to me, so it's cool.
Okay, that's fair. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about our favorite cards that have been revealed. And I want to specify, we're not talking about them in terms of like meta viability. We're not going through each and every single aspect of the card. We're just talking about the cards we think are cool because they're cool and why we like them. So why don't y'all lead us off with some of your favorite cards that have been revealed over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I'm gonna get the part of the family that's probably gonna go then, because the attention spans won't stay that long. But Arwen's gonna go first. This is my youngest daughter. She's 5. You want to tell everybody what your favorite card is that's been shown so far?
Elsa.
Yes, all the Elsas, right?
Okay.
She likes any Elsa. She'll probably build a deck of Elsas.
Or any Anna.
Or any Annas. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like
that sounds like a fun
she'll
deck.
be a card player, I'm sure. She likes that. So, all right, Theo, what do you have kind of a unique one? It's not one that's been released, but you have something you want to see released.
Chip and Dale.
Ooh.
He'd like to see a Chip and Dale card. He's hoping for one.
I would also like to see a Chip and Dale card.
We all
That'd be fun.
do.
Yeah, me too.
All right, what color do you want to see Chip and Dale in?
Green, since they live in the woods.
No.
That's
and they are mischievous, so
Yeah.
Actually, no.
I could see that. That sounds fun.
I could see it for sure. And Tiffany?
I have liked all the 100 Acre Wood friends, but I think they should come out with a Winnie the Pooh card. Tigger was cool, but they need a Winnie the Pooh one.
And I feel like
think we'll see him. I think he's hiding in that last set of 50.
I'm hoping, yeah.
He's gotta be.
I have a feeling if they've brought Tigger out, Pooh's probably not far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, next we'll do Leah because we all know what her favorite card is. Yeah,
Probably
go ahead.
Lilo.
Lilo.
It's not
not
Stitch?
Stitch.
Well, Stitch isn't brand new. He's
Oh,
been out
true,
for a while.
True.
Oh.
Surfer Stitch was the last. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I would honestly go probably between Lilo or the new Maleficent card that was released this week.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. The 3 lore and the defense, attack, cost, everything about her is absolutely
And the
gorgeous.
art
And
is
the art
gorgeous.
is amazing. So probably that one's probably my favorite, and it with the blue and yellow for my deck, it really goes well.
Yeah, my favorite card is probably the new Maleficent, honestly. It's really good.
And then I would have to go. I was a Pokemon player first, so like I love Whole New World. It literally feels a little bit like Professor Sycamore. You played
Yeah.
Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Did
I
you
saw
play
that. I was
in
like,
the
oh, it's a
era-
professor card.
Did you play in the era where like a no-hand Sycamore was an obvious high five?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like to me a Whole New World is an obvious high five.
Yeah.
When you are at 0 cards and you play that and your opponent has 5, that's a for sure high five right there.
Yeah, it's a feel good. It also reminds me of N from
yes.
that.
And
Yeah.
it's a good card.
Yep.
A lot of people forget that was a really disruptive card. Of course,
changes
yeah.
games.
it's not the same, but if you play New World in the right capacity,
Oh yeah.
I believe it can be excessively disruptive. A lot of
Yeah.
people are worried about, I'm going to give my opponent 7 new cards. It's like,
Nah, not if they have.
you're not wrong. They do get 7 new cards, but they could just get 7 dead draws or
Mhm.
7 really dysfunctional cards. And
Yes.
that's more than enough time to get you what you want. And they've got to figure out what the heck to do with what they've just found. It's like, ugh.
And they could have a 6 and 7 card that they can't wait to play that changes the game, and then they have to rethink everything. Meanwhile,
Yeah, that's
you're
my
like,
opinion.
Meanwhile, you're like, okay, I know what I have to do, and I know when I'm playing this card. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about that. I built a control deck that's it plays very, very well. We've already had some people playing some games with it, and they said it's like a 55-60% win ratio. And people are talking about like, why do you have New World in there? It's like, well, most people mulligan to control their hand so that they get a big play on turn 5, 6, 7. If you're going first and you can pop off New World, you can disrupt that turn 5, 6, 7 play.
Mhm.
And now who knows what they're going to have.
Mhm.
If you go second, you could still disrupt their turn 6 and 7 play. And although sure, there's cards being given to the opponent, if they were banking on turn 6, I'm going to play this Genie, or turn X, I'm going to play this Tinkerbell or whatever, and you disrupt that, boy, are they on the back foot. They have to figure out what to do. Also, it's an awkward form of removal, because if you get rid of a card into the graveyard and they're not playing yellow, there's no way to
There's
recur
no
it.
way to get it back. Yeah.
So
Yeah, was
some
that
of
the
the
one you
best ways
posted
to-
like today? I think maybe.
Yeah,
the Emerald Steel one.
Yeah, the quest control.
Oh yeah, I was looking at it already.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really good feedback on that deck
Yeah.
because it's not nice.
I can't wait to play it. Actually,
Please don't hate me, listeners. It's not a mean deck. It's just a very, very mean deck.
it is. I mean, why not? You got to have. I mean, the nice thing is you sound like a nice guy, and that's when I played Control. People are always like, "Well, at least you explain things to me, and you're nice, and you have a nice approach to it." Because there can
It's
be people-
Ravensburger's fault for
Yeah.
giving us so many good control cards.
I hate control decks.
Oh, there was the alternate.
It does feel weird that green is control.
It
and
is.
like it should be blue. Why is it not
Yeah.
blue?
I was just playing with some Transformers friends, teaching them the game the other night, and they were reminding me of my Daring Escape Springer deck that they did not like.
Oh, I remember that deck. That was gross.
It was. But I even had like little like labels to explain exactly what was going on, because that's the one thing I always hate about playing somebody Control. Like if you didn't know what was going on, you're kind of like, wait, what are you doing? Why am I not playing? What? And if somebody didn't explain it, it really felt like almost like they were cheating.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yep.
And I think that's a really good time to segue into the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yes.
And that's going to be a combination of our favorite colors and deck building fundamentals. So a lot of people right now are focused very heavily on card reveals and card synergies and card power levels and et cetera, et cetera. But we're gonna pivot from that standpoint, and we're going to assume that the listeners have been reading all the cards. And if you haven't, you can check out Lorcania.com. They have all of the cards. We'll post them in the show notes. So if you don't know what we're talking about, You can go and read it in post, so it's not a big deal. But we're going to start looking at a macro state and start working on color combos and building decks and what goes into deck building. So that way we can take the cards that we've been given, which has been a lot, and start to turn it and synthesize it into how can we play with these cards? How can we start building decks? Because we have about 150 plus cards. So there's enough out there that we should be able to have a pretty functional understanding of each color. And it's not a perfect understanding yet, but in a week, we're going to know everything else. So we're just going to start getting into the fun stuff. So who wants to lead off with their favorite color combination?
I will. So my favorite color combination is probably purple and gray.
Ooh, okay.
Well,
Okay.
because like purple has a bunch of lore cards and stuff, and then gray is just really mean.
So if you were to build a deck with Amethyst and Steel, what would you look for as like a skeleton of your deck? Like, what do you want it to do? Do you want it to do damage? Do you want a quest? What's your game plan here? Because we're actually going to build a deck like as we talk and have some
that's
fun.
fun.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
I'd probably do like fire the cannons and smash and like Tinkerbell, so some like indirect damage cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just have purple and some good lore cards from gray.
So for the listeners, the whole concept of Lorcana is you want to be the first person to reach 20 lore. So unlike Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have a life total, or Pokemon, where you have a fixed amount of prizes, and if you knock out Pokemon, you get prizes, you're actively trying to hit a numerical value. And so each character card has a pip or more of lore, and as you tap them, you can either quest with them to gain lore towards that 20-point win con, or you can challenge your opponents who have exerted or tapped characters, and if you beat them in a fight, they go away and get sent to the graveyard. So there's a interesting balance of jockeying between, do I exert or tap my card to gain lore to win the game, or do I exert or tap my card to attack my opponent to slow them down? So talking about Steel and Amethyst, what are some of your cards you want to put in to quest? Because that's the heart and soul of your deck. If you're just attacking and challenging the whole game, you're never going to win because you don't get any lore for that. So like, what are some of your favorite cards in purple and steel that can quest and get you lore that'll win the game?
Oh man. Probably the Mickey Mouse and his broomsticks.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys can have some pretty good combos.
Okay. So we'll put in 4 Mickeys, 4 broomsticks. That's a fun start.
That was a good start.
So why don't you explain a little bit about what makes Mickey and broomsticks so fun while I throw these in the deck list?
Well, like Mickey and the broomsticks, it's a really fun synergy because your broomsticks technically can't die because they just go back up to your hand when they get knocked out.
If you have Mickey. If you don't have Mickey, you go away.
If you have Mickey. And then also with Mickey, they're one less to play. So you can potentially play them like the same turn that they die.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so we've got 8 out of 60 cards.
Isn't it? Mickey and the broomsticks.
Yeah, it really does.
An interesting thing that was mentioned too, a lot of people are worried about milling out from, what do you call it? New World.
Oh, yeah.
So Magic Brooms can put cards from your graveyard back into your deck.
Yep.
So if you're facing off against a mill matchup, you can extend that range. So someone jokingly said, "Hey, what if I put 80 cards in my deck?" It's like, sure, you can do that.
You can do that.
But people were saying you could just use Mickey and Brooms to recycle cards safely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got Mickey, we've got Broom, so we've got the Broom Loops combo. What else do you want to put into that deck to get you to 20 lore? Because there's a lot of really cool cards in these 2 colors.
They really are, yeah.
I mean, you talked about the smash and that combo, which is probably pretty good. Not going to give you a lot of lore, though.
Well, so whenever you're building a deck, the first thing you want to do is build the skeletal system to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know what your game plan is to win. So like Fire the Cannons and Smash are definitely going to go in as a part of the removal package, but that doesn't create lore. So we need bodies that can win the game by questing. So whenever you start building a deck, that's really one of the first things you want is, where are my questing batteries? Mickey Mouse can quest for 2, or you can keep using the brooms over and over. If they get challenged and banished, they just go back into your hand, you replay them, and you quest again. So we've got a combo line right there. Mickey Mouse and brooms, perfect. But you need more than just that. You want some more lore batteries, because you have things like Maleficent. She has 2 lore for 1 ink.
Maleficent. I would put Maleficent in. I didn't even think.
You've also got Pascal. Like if you have another creature on the board, he's got evasive, which is really hard to deal with.
Honestly,
so
maybe I would put in the 6 Tinkerbell, like because she would come in. I would use her mainly for her abilities, and then I just quest with her.
Okay, so if we're gonna put in the 6-drop Tinkerbell, we probably want to put in
I would also
drop.
put in the 3 cost.
Okay, because that way you can shift from the 3 to the 6 very quickly and put some pressure on the opponent.
Yeah, shift is probably like one of my favorite abilities. It is so.
Any other characters you want to put into your list?
Not really for lore specificness.
Didn't you say Maleficent?
Yeah.
Maleficent.
So Baby Maleficent or Sorcerer Maleficent, who draws cards?
The baby one.
So we've got our core of characters. Now let's talk about removal. Since you have steel, we've already said, bring 4 Fire the Cannons, bring 4 Smash.
Yeah.
So Cannons does 2 damage, Smash does 3. What other removal tools do you want to bring, if any, to the deck? Because Tinker Bomb, the 6-drop, also has really good removal options.
Oh, yeah. I would probably bring in the 1-cost Captain Hook. Just because he's really nice with his challenger.
Forceful Duelist, he's a great removal spell. He's just removal on a stick. Like he trades up so well. All right, what else? We got some card space here to put some more things.
Yeah, and then the 4-cost Captain Hook as well. So that way I can get the cannon.
Jolly Roger, yeah. All right, anything else in the removal package?
In terms of removal, I'd probably do the Dr. Facilier, the
2-drop Challenger? Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Anything else?
Maybe the 4 Jafar, the 4-cost Jafar.
Another Challenger. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Grab Your Sword?
Yeah,
that's a pretty good one.
That combos so well with Tinkerbell.
It does.
All right, anything else?
I think I'm good.
Okay, so we're at 52 cards. We've got space for 8. Now here's the fun part. This is where you put in tech cards, things to help your deck, things to give you utility, things to give you whatever you want. So talking about Steel and Amethyst, you actually have access to 2 of the best draw cards in the game.
Those were the 2 that I was thinking of.
Okay, so we'll put Whole New World in and then Friends on the other side.
Yeah.
All right, so here's our 60 card deck. Looking out based on what we talked about, we've got 4 Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist, the 1-drop, 4 of the Pascal, the 1-drop who has evasive, 4 of the Mickey Mouse, the Wayward Sorcerer that makes your brooms cost 1 less, and if they're banished, you put it back into your hand, followed by 4 of the brooms, which are a 2 cost, but they get reduced by each Mickey Mouse. We've got 4 of the 3-drop Tinkerbell, who then shifts up into 4 of the 6-drop Tinkerbell, which states when you play it, you get 1 damage to each opposing character, and then if she challenges and banishes a character, you can deal 2 damage to something else. So a great combo. Baby Maleficent, the 1-drop who has 2 lore, just value for questing. Captain Hook of the Jolly Roger, so he can bring back cannons from your discard pile. Dr. Facilier, who is a 0-4 challenger. When he challenges and attacks, he gains +2 attack. When he is attacked, he is a 0-4, so he doesn't do anything on defense. And then you have Jafar, the 2-5 challenger, who states when he attacks you, he gets +3 attack. When he is attacked, he is a 2-5. So on offense, great. On defense, he's okay. We have 4 Fire the Cannons, which deals 2 damage. 4 of Smash, which deals 3 damage. 4 Friends on the other side, which draws 2 cards. 4 Grab Your Sword, which deals 2 damage to each opposing character. And 4 of Whole New World. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. All right, so here's where we start. What's the weakness of this deck?
The ink. I was wondering how much ink is inkable and not inkable.
All right, so we have.
I don't see it in front of me, so I'm not sure. But I was just wondering. I was thinking
4 Maleficent, 4 Captain Hook, so that's 8. Another 4 with Fire the Cannons, so that's 12. another 4 with Grab Your Sword, so that's 16, and another 4 with Whole New World. So there's 20 non-inkable cards. 1/3 of the deck cannot be sent to the inkwell. Does that bother you? Now, this is an interesting conversation. It may or may not be a good thing. It may or may not be a bad thing. I can hear people already listening going, oh my God, it's too many. The propensity of non-inkable to inkable is relevant, but if you have the right combination of cards, you can circumnavigate that. So for example, we have Friends on the Other Side. You can draw into more cards to ink. We also have Whole New World. You can draw into way more cards to ink. You're also, some of your cards are low to the ground that cannot be inked, such as Maleficent and Fire the Cannons. They're just a 1-drop. That's not a heavy investment. And then things like Grab Your Sword can be sung, Whole New World can be sung, so you don't necessarily have to pay their cost. You can just exert a character. Is that a number you like? 20 cards not inkable? If you don't have to, it's a totally subjective answer.
I think it should be fine because, you know, like you said, there's things like A Whole New World and Friends on the Other Side, and just a bunch like there's ways around it.
Okay.
Yeah, that
sounds fun.
That is an interesting conversation to have because as we get more draw cards, that whole non-inkable to inkable does change, I think. I really think that makes a big difference when you know you're going to draw more cards.
Right.
Whereas before, when we didn't have that draw ability, especially a large one like A Whole New World, it was a little bit like, oof.
Yeah, it was a little bit more scary then.
I was, no son likes a dad's suggestion, but one suggestion I had was Dr. Facilier maybe putting the bigger Maleficent in for him instead. I'm not sure what the curve looks like because I don't have the deck in front of me, but having that to sing Friends on the Other Side is such a beautiful 3 on next turn sing it combo. So
the curve right now is there's a lot of 1-drops, not many 2-drops. 3 and 4s are around the same. 5 drops off, 6 drops off. There's only one 6-drop.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty front heavy with 1s, drops off with 2s. 3 and 4 is really where the curve sits comfortably.
Okay, so we're good then there. That's why I wasn't sure.
That's kind of where I like my decks to be, is right there in like 3 and 4.
Okay. I do agree. I would drop Facilier for Sork Maleficent because you can play her to replenish herself and then exert her to sing Friends on the Other Side for free.
Yeah, and you get that card draw again. That makes that card. Yeah. That makes that deck. Really
it was so hard to think of a deck in the moment.
That's
I will say I told him a little late on that, and that's a good transition into Leah because Leah, I saw the panic on her face. I mean, I sent her this message, but she still was like, I got a quick message that said, I can't deck build. So I thought it'd be really fun for us to help her build a deck in the color she loves.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
Because I think that's a cool thing for people to learn too is I mean, I know even for me, I struggle. I mean, I've watched a lot of deck building videos, but like, it's fun to watch other people like explain things and so we can help some of the community that's like, I love Disney. I love Stitch. I love Lilo, but I have no clue what deck building even means. So.
That reminds me of someone.
We can make that happen. Okay, so good news. I can tell you what the metrics are. So there are 16 1-drops, 8 steel, 8 amethyst, 4 purple, 4 purple cards at the 2-drop rank. At 3 drops, we have a split of 8 and 8 for both steel and amethyst. At the 4 drops, we have 8 purple and 4 steel. And then at the 5 drops, we've got 4 steel. At the 6 drops, we've got just Tinker Bomb, 4 of them.
Yeah, I really like that.
Okay,
cool.
So what do you want to call this deck? Let's give this deck a name.
This will be fun. Our next 3-player game will actually play these decks. This
yeah.
This will be a blast.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Yeah, we'll do all the hard work now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we're actually building these decks live in Lorcania, so they're going to be on our LorcanaCast profile.
Yes.
So you listeners can take these decks that we're building right now, plug them in, do whatever you want. They're yours to have fun with.
And Lorcania is beautiful. It's just
Lorcania is great.
It's such a cool resource site.
But I haven't seen anybody do this on a podcast yet. Build a deck and then go, hey, listeners, public people, Illumineers, do whatever you want. It's yours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we need a name. We need a name for this. What's the name?
So the name is Tinkerbell Sweep. Because there's girls and Tinkerbell kind of just sweeps the board.
There you go.
She kind of just sweeps the board when she comes out.
That's the best part about TCGs is deck naming. I just love.
I do love deck naming. That is one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
I
things
love
to do.
naming my decks.
All right, so we've got the Tinkerbell sweep. Oh, this I actually kind of want to play this. This looks fun.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of a fun deck.
And this
This
is
is a
another fun
very,
thing.
very
Like,
fun
find people that you can play with because it's awesome to be able to just sit here and chat about like deck building, and then you come up with decks. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
great.
This is my favorite part about TCG. Is just
Yeah.
sitting down and building decks for hours.
It's just so much fun.
Throw on some Daft Punk, some Coldplay, whatever.
yes.
Get yourself a cup of tea and just
Mhm.
build decks.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yes.
All right, who's next? Who wants to build a
We'll
deck?
go Leah. Let's build a deck for Leah. Let's.
All
right.
I think that's big fun.
Leah, what are your colors of choice? What deck colors do you want?
Well, I know I want yellow.
Okay,
Amber is a big one for
Yeah.
there you go.
I don't. What would work good with like an amber
Everything
deck?
works with Amber. No.
Yeah. Probably.
Well, what
blue
do
would be
you
best,
want
right?
to do? Like, if I said, here's all the cards in the world, what kind of strategy do you imagine?
I'm not sure. I don't play TCGs a whole lot, so I don't have a lot of like I don't know a whole lot about them.
Well, that's okay. I mean, like, we can give you a couple options you can think about. So,
Yeah.
do you want to have like big bodies? Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to control the pace of the game? Do you just want to do your own thing? Is there a certain theme you like princesses or villains? Do you want to sing songs? Is any of this sounding interesting to you?
I can tell you this much. I know Leah very well. So I will say this much. I don't want to speak for her, but I know that an auto include in any deck for her that has, now I'm saying Amber is this 4 stitches, 4 Rockstar stitches, and probably 4 surfing stitches, and 4 Lilos. So that's, I mean.
You're not wrong.
Okay, so you're a big Lilo and Stitch fan. That's cool.
A very big Stitch fan.
Okay.
I was looking at the green, amber.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm mainly looking at it because I like the characters in it.
So, what are your favorite characters in Emerald?
I like Cusco and Genie, Flynn.
Oh, okay. I've got an idea. I've got an idea for a real mean deck.
All right, let's do it.
Oh no.
Okay. All
It's gonna be
right.
an interesting 3-player
It
game.
is.
This is going to be a really. I'll just say this. It's not Stitch Turbo, but it can do Stitch Turbo things.
Okay.
So let's first of all tell me the characters you like, and we'll build around that. That will be our skeleton.
Okay.
So you said Genie.
Yep, Genie.
Okay. You said Stitch. Oh, Cusco. Got it.
Cusco, yeah. We know lots of Stitch.
Yeah, all the stitches.
All the
Got that.
Stitches.
Lilo.
Yes, Lilo.
Okay.
Flynn Rider, I really like. I'm trying to look at all of them. I like Hans.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 lore is nice.
Peter.
Hot hands Hans. Very
Yeah.
good.
Very good.
Yep, very good. Peter
He's
Pan.
very good. Okay.
Love Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. All right, we got him. Got it.
And let's see. I'm trying to look through all of them.
That's fine. We can make edits.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
Exactly.
I like Beast.
Which one? Oh,
the,
the
uh,
5-drop.
Iago.
Okay.
I know I like Cruella. I like what she does.
Yeah, Cruella's pretty good.
And Cheshire.
Oh, good old Mr. Kitty.
Yep.
Kitty Cat is good.
And
Okay. Anybody else?
Did I say? Oh, I'm trying to. Jumba Jukiba.
Yep.
Another Lilo and Stitch character.
Yep.
I was surprised he wasn't on that list.
He made it. Don't worry.
He survived.
And Aladdin.
Ooh, all right.
Oh yeah, there is a green Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
There is a green Aladdin. Okay, cool. So we have 65 cards here. So we're gonna start making some cuts.
That's a good way to start. You always want more than you.
Yeah, you always have more than you think. So for people who are listening, this is a very, very common way to build decks.
Mm-hmm.
You build the cards you like, and you start to assemble, and you go, okay, I like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then eventually you come to a conclusion of, okay, I have a little bit too many. We don't have any actions. We don't have any items. So we're going to have to trim some of the fat away.
Yeah.
So that way we can get to what we really want. But A very, very common formula is just throwing in everything and then pulling back a little bit of what you do and you don't want. So here's the fundamental question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to have more of a control style list, or do we want to lean into that Stitch Rockstar ability where you're trying to get a lot of things on the board quickly? And when you play a character that costs 1 or 2, you can exert them to draw a card, which generally you're trying to draw into cards that are cost 1 or 2. So you can just keep playing more and more and more and more stuff.
I usually would go more towards like the Rockstar Stitch style.
Okay, cool. Let's start looking at Rockstar Stitch first. That's going to be our skeleton. He's going to tell us what we want to do. So Rockstar Stitch has an Adoring Fans ability that says whenever you play a character with cost 2 or less, you may exert them to draw a card. If we're going to follow that structure, we want every single 1 and 2 drop possible. So we can keep hitting those numbers constantly over and over and over and over and flooding the board as quickly as we can. Let's start making some cuts right off the bat. We're going to have to drop Jumba because he's a 5-drop.
Okay.
And he doesn't fall into that strategy. We're going to want to drop Cheshire Cat. Well, we might come back, but the first thing is we want to build that skeleton, the fundamental, like the cornerstone of the house.
Yeah.
We'll start with our 1 and 2. So we'll drop Cheshire Cat because he's a 3-drop. We'll keep Stitch. We'll drop Iago. He's a 3-drop. We'll drop Genie. He's a 6-drop. Drop Beast. We'll drop Carefree Surfer Stitch. He might come back. We'll get rid of Peter Pan. We'll keep Lilo. We'll get rid of Hans. We'll keep Flynn Rider. Drop Cusco. Now we do get to keep the 2-drop Genie because he fulfills that Rockstar Stitch prerequisite. That's a word. So let's add 4 Duke of Weaselton, 4 Hey Hey.
Flynn Rider.
Flynn Rider stays. He's safe. Cruella stays. She's safe. We'll bring in Timon. We'll bring in LeFou. We'll bring in Sebastian as well as Princess Minnie. Simba. We've got 4 of Aladdin and then 4 of Megara. So, oh my gosh, that's actually 60 cards exactly.
Wow.
Oh my geez.
And that is a explosion of 60
I mean,
cards,
I guess you could use that as a deck. You'd have
you literally have only 1 and 2 drops outside of that Rockstar Stitch.
You're going to draw cards.
You are going to draw.
Now I will also say I think that's a terrible deck because you need some you need some removal, you need some tools here.
Yes.
All right, so we've got the skeleton of 1s and 2s. Great. What else do we want to add in here? We've got a lot of really cool cards. I mean, there's so many really fun things in here. And of course, you don't have to only have 1 and 2 drops. You can absolutely put more stuff in. Now that we've got that skeleton, what do you want to add to the deck? Because we can go back and put in Genie, Cusco. You want some bombs just because you're going to need answers to certain things. But we've got the understanding of here are all of the 1s and 2 drops that combo with Stitch. Now we can start to slowly pull out cards that, maybe a 1-drop Duke of Weaselton isn't super necessary. And we'll replace him with new cards. So thoughts, what cards should we subsidize with what we have right now?
Are we talking like items or songs or
everything?
Okay. I was looking at Vicious Betrayal.
Okay, yeah.
And I was trying to find some Stampede. Stampede probably would be a good one.
Okay.
Oh, you always like Be Our Guest too.
I do like Be Our Guest.
And Be Our Guest wouldn't be bad at all in this deck.
Yeah, it allows you to dig for that Stitch.
Yeah, I really like Be Our Guest.
Okay. What other cards are you interested in adding here?
Mother Knows Best isn't that bad.
I was looking at that one and not Be Our Guest. That one and Hakuna Matata. I was trying to look between those two.
Okay. So we'll throw Hakuna Matata in. So keep throwing out ideas. There's no right or wrong. We'll just go through and see how these cards synergize with what you want. It's kind of fun. It's called Blue Skies. You just throw everything in, and then you start to really pick and go, okay, if I want to play 1 and 2 drops, how does this card interact with that strategy? And sometimes you just go, well, it doesn't. All right, well, we're going to have to cut it then. But this is that blue sky zone where you can just put in anything and everything. And again, we'll trim that fat down.
Did we leave Hans in, by the way, too?
Yeah,
Not yet, but we can put him back in. That's totally fine.
Wondered. I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering. Spitballing there.
just in time and control your temper.
We'll add those in.
And maybe Dinglehopper.
Healing. I like that. Okay. All right.
Especially combats a little bit of the Tinkerbell era of
That's what I-
cards lately.
Yeah, and Healing Glow would probably be good too.
Anything else?
I think.
Did you want the bigger Stitch in too? I mean, you're going to have, if you get to 7 ink, you're going to have 2 cards out and play, I would think, most of the time. So give you 2 more card draw, which at that point, the argument is it too late?
Yeah. If we have the room for him.
We'll throw him in. Okay. So we have 104 cards.
I
in
was
this
just
deck.
about to ask if we hit triple digits.
We did go over 100. So
Oh,
let's
man.
look at the cards we added and start trimming what does and doesn't work. So
Okay.
first off, I want to bring up Stampede. So it only deals 2 damage to a chosen damaged character.
Okay.
So it doesn't do much offensively for this list because we're not necessarily going to be able to just deal plink damage, because if we do, we generally lose our body because all of our characters are so squishy.
Right.
Mhm.
So I don't recommend that one.
All right.
Okay, so I noticed she added a bunch of cards that give you plus strength to a character, or chosen character gets -2 with control your temper. So here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
The Stitch Rockstar archetype is based on flooding the board with like 10 new cards. And if your opponent does not have a board wipe and you get to untap all of your cards, you win on the next turn. So this is what we call in Magic weenies, like white weenies, where you just have a million different tiny bodies, and it's like death by 1,000 cuts. None of those bodies are strong, but there's so many, the opponent can't do anything unless they have like be prepared to banish everything, like a Wrath of God, or they have grab your sword that does 2 damage across the board. So you definitely have some very significant weaknesses against very specific cards. But if your opponent does not have those cards, you probably just win the game.
Yes.
So do you want to keep cards that encourage you to attack when you don't want to attack? Because we can pivot. We can change the deck to be a little bit more challenge heavy versus quest heavy.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So then we'll take out Control Your Temper. We'll take out Vicious Betrayal. So now we're down to 92. So we're making some
We got progress.
making some progress. This also comes to fruition with the same thing with healing. So most of the characters in your deck are 1 health or 2 health.
Right.
So Healing Glow and Dinglehopper only really protect Stitch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep those in the deck and maybe take out some of these little bodies and put some like bigger bodies in with a little bit more willpower?
Yeah, I think so. So that we have more meat to it.
Okay, so we can absolutely do that. So we'll keep Healing Glow and Dinglehopper, Hakuna Matata. I think Mother Knows Best is just a really great card. It's just so powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going to make some adjustments here, we've got Hans as a quester. What are some characters with more willpower you want to add? And then we can start pulling out some of these smaller bodies we just don't need anymore. We could put Jumba back in. He's a
Yeah.
nice big beefy boy.
Yeah, Jumba. Let's put him back in.
I would recommend Rapunzel because she's beefy and she can draw you cards.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Let's do Rapunzel.
So she has an ability that says when you play this character, you can remove up to 3 damage from one of your characters, and then you draw a card for each point of damage you remove.
Yeah, and people are going to come after Stitch if she has that in the deck. So, like, literally,
Yeah.
like, and he's beefy himself. So, like, if you play Rapunzel, then it's like, oh, okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, it's hilarious because if they play Smash on him, you just and don't kill him, you just
Yeah.
get 3 cards.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks. I appreciate you, friend. Okay, so we do have Rockstar Stitch. He's a 4/8, so he's pretty beefy.
Mhm.
Who else do you want to put in? We could put in like
Goofy, maybe? Yeah.
Goofy's kind of big. Cusco's kind of big too.
I was looking at Cusco. Do you think
Ooh, his lore too.
I like
So good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, he has
We
3
could-
more too?
Mm-hmm.
he's got 3 lore as well. We could go for the 3 lore package. We could put in Moana as well.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a lot of lore.
It is a lot of lore. If we're doing that, then we probably want to abandon the Rockstar strategy and
Yeah.
do like a bodyguard strategy with like Maximus and Goofy to protect these. And Simba.
Oh, and then you could also put in
Yeah.
you could put in Hans because
I
he has
tend-
another 3 lore.
I tend to always go, if you watch our podcast, I tend to always go for the lore and not so much like attack or anything.
I don't think you ever attacked
Okay.
one of us.
Oh,
I do think
so we could build you a nice wall deck where you just like build up and play your own game. How does that sound?
That sounds
That
actually
sounds like
great
Leah,
because
actually.
I don't attack. I'm very just lore heavy. I try to get the lore the quickest.
Okay. So
Which
let's
is
do
not a
this.
lot
I'm
of
gonna
games, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clear the deck. We're gonna start from
sorry.
scratch. 'Cause-
No, that's fine.
No. So here's the fun part. This is actually part of deck construction and
Mhm.
evolution.
Yep.
This happens a million times where you start with one idea and then you pivot to another idea
Mhm.
and then you advance that idea and then you go, wait a minute, what if I change this color to a different color? So there's all these like steps that evolve decks from where you started to where you end. So
Yeah.
No. This is totally fine. This is one of the most exciting parts because we started with this is kind of what I want. And now we're like, oh no, Leah is definitely like a solitaire player. You're going to do whatever you want. You're going to ignore everybody else and they're going to have to play your game. You're not going to play their game.
That sounds
And that
like
is that is super fun.
This
Okay.
deck is going to be nasty.
Yeah, this is going to be a brutal deck. So here we go. Let's put in Stitch. Let's put in Lilo. Put in Dinglehopper. So we're going to keep some of the cards we had prior. We'll put in Healing Glow. We want bodyguards. So we'll bring in Simba at 2-drop.
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll bring in Flynn Rider because he's great for questing. And when people attack him, they have to get rid of cards, which keeps you above the curve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mother Knows Best. We talked about that one. Kitty Cat. That makes them lose their characters.
Mhm. Cheshire. So
What about Maximus? He has a bodyguard.
We'll do Hans. Yeah, we're going to do Bodyguard Maximus. We're going to do Bodyguard Goofy. We're going to do Rapunzel, who heals. We're going to do Cusco, who banishes. We're going to do Moana, who has 3 lore and 1/6 big butt. Jumbo, who's a 4/5 with a big butt. Rockstar Stitch, who's got 3 lore. And then Carefree Surfer. So I think you have every single 3 lore character.
yeah.
Okay, so we're at 68. We're 8 cards, so we're 2 cards over instead of at 100.
Like,
So we're really close. We're doing really, really well here. And let's look at the curve. So we've got 16 1-drops in yellow. At 2, 3, and 4, we have 8 cards. At the 5-drop, we have 20 cards. And then 4 at the 6-drop spot and 4 at the 7-drop spot. So 5 drops are the highest, where we have Jumba, Moana, Goofy Musketeer, Maximus with bodyguard and support, Cusco. So there's a lot of 5 drops there. Not necessarily a bad thing, but the curve is kind of like lots of 1-drops, some 2, some 3, some 4, and then 5.
Probably don't need 2 bodyguards at that level, so you could probably get rid of Maximus or Goofy, I guess.
I feel like you want both of the bodyguards so
that's
you
true.
see them. You want a higher option
True.
to see them hit the field. I would say, why don't we drop Jumba?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's just kind of filling a gap.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we're at 64. We need to get rid of 1 more card. Let's see. We've got Moana, Musketeer, Goofy. Okay, you're probably not going to like this one, but do you really want Carefree Surfer Stitch? If you want him, we'll keep him. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but like how bad do you want him? Like pretty bad, kind of bad.
It's hard for me to get rid of him, but like,
Okay.
what would be the other option?
How about Healing Glow?
Yeah, one of the healing cards would probably be.
So Dinglehopper, you can keep on the board as long as you
Yeah.
want. Healing Glow, it's situational. If you see it, you get to use it. Also, your 1-drops are really, really high. You kind of want your curve to be like a lot of 1-drops, a little less 2-drops, and then 3 and 4 kind of middle. Right now, we kind of have like a rock star. You know, you have like your pinky finger and your pointer finger up.
Yeah.
So like your pinky and your pointer are your 1 and 5 drops, and then your 2, 3, and 4s are like your middle fingers in between.
True.
Yeah.
So we might want to curve that out just a little bit.
Okay. Let's do that.
Okay, so here's what the deck looks like right now. We've got 4 Moana, 4 Stitch Rockstar, 4 Kitty Cat, 4 Stitch New Dog, the 1-drop, 4 Goofy Musketeer with Bodyguard, 4 Stitch Carefree Surfer, 4 of Simba with Bodyguard, 4 of Baby Lilo with the 2 lore, 4 of Hot Hands Hans, very good, 4 Rapunzel, 4 Flynn Rider, 4 Maximus. Those 3 just work really well together, by the way.
Yeah.
4 Cusco, 4 Mother Knows Best, which allows you to return a chosen character to their hand, so you just bounce things, and 4 Dinglehopper.
Okay.
Are you feeling it, Mr. Krabs?
I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
Okay.
Awesome. Now you get to name it.
Yeah, so your game plan, you have to think of a name. So we'll talk about this. Think of a name while we kind of parse through some of the combo lines here. So early game, you want to try and get Lilo on board. So turn 1, you play her. Turn 2, you quest with her. And then your opponent, they have to kill her. They have to banish her. Otherwise, if she quests the second time, you're just getting value on value. Your 2-drop should be Flynn Rider. He also quests for 2. So you're just putting a lot of pressure on the opponent because most everything either quests for 2 or 3, which is kind of obscene. I don't know if I like that.
That is insane.
It's kind of gross. So if Flynn Rider is challenged, the challenging player chooses and discards a card. What's interesting is Flynn doesn't have to be banished. It's just challenged. That's disgusting. Anyways, your opponent has to basically pay a card to just attack this card. It's ridiculous. Your 3-drop is either you want Cheshire Cat. Your other 3-drop is Mother Knows Best. So you can disrupt the opponent if they get something out on turn 3. You could bounce it if you want, but realistically, you want to get Cheshire Cat on turn 3. Turn 4, you have Rapunzel. She's not really what you want to play. She's more of a mid to late game card. So Hans is actually your turn 4 pressure card because at this point, if nothing has been removed, you have a Lilo that quests for 2. You have a Flynn Rider that quests for 2. You have a Cheshire Cat that quests for 2. And now you've played a Hans that quests for 3. So if they don't answer anything, you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 lore with 4 bodies. That's pretty above the curve. That's a lot. It's a lot of nuts. Then on turn 5, you really open up the floodgates. So you can do Moana of Motunui. You can do Goofy with a 3/6 bodyguard to protect all those other things. You've got Maximus, who's a 4/5 bodyguard with support, which is dumb. And you've got Cusco, who's a 2/4 with ward. And he quests for 3. So depending on the matchup, if you're playing against a non-removal deck, so like they're not playing red, they're not playing steel, they're not playing blue, you probably want to go into Cusco because they're not going to have a lot of removal spells. And then you're just going to quest like a monster because at that point you've got 12 lore on board with 5 bodies. Like you've probably won the game at this point, honestly. Your 6-drop is Stitch Rockstar, which if you can do the right combo, you would play the 1-drop Stitch on turn 3, and then you would shift up to this Stitch on turn 4.
Yeah.
So you have another turn 4 combo between Haunts and Shifting Stitch, so that's good. And then 7, you have Carefree Surfer.
Perfect.
So you've got an answer on every single curve, 1 through 7. And turn 5 is really where you have that flex of what do you want to do? Do you want to quest a lot? Do you want to use Rapunzel to heal some, draw some cards? I mean, you could drop Moana. It's very open, kind of gross, actually. All right. Thoughts? Do you like it? Are you feeling it?
I'm definitely feeling it. It sounds right up my alley.
Yeah. If you can get Dinglehopper online, you can just keep healing your stuff. Let's talk about weaknesses. What do you feel some of the weaknesses of this deck would potentially be?
Are there any?
Yes.
Yeah,
Indeed there are.
The only concern I have, but I'm like I said, I don't know a whole lot about TCGs, but like drawing. Like
yes.
Because I do use like draw power a lot. And that's one of my concerns. So I don't know if
that is indeed a weakness. You are very much locked into you get what you get. Rapunzel can help, but that's very situational.
Yeah.
So you can't rely on her to draw you many cards.
Right.
She'll probably get you like 1, maybe 2. It's going to be rare to see 3, but because you have so many big questers, as long as you can get to the mid game, you'll be okay. You have a little bit of an issue with aggro rush decks because they're going to outpace you. But if you can keep them off guard by you questing with better bodies, then they have to answer. And that's how you can kind of like offset a little bit of your weakness. The other thing is you're very susceptible to removal. Like hard removal hurts you really, really bad.
Yeah.
Again, not saying that this is good or bad. It's just like, I like what Sun Tzu said. You need to know yourself before you can know yourself, know your enemy. If you don't know your weaknesses and your strengths, then there's no way you're going to know how to play your own deck. So no deck is perfect. All decks have a strength. All decks have a weakness. And it's a wise thing as a deck builder to assess those things and either embrace them or try to adjust the deck to offset some of the things that you personally might not like.
Just because of the draw situation.
Yeah.
Do you think, in your opinion, I should take out the Surfer Stitch and just put in Be Our Guest?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
That is a good question. Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Okay. Because I'd be willing to do that just because that is a concern of mine. Because if I have a bad hand, I can at least, look through and try to find something.
Helps you with one of those 3 questing, 3 lore characters too.
Oh, I like that idea.
Me too.
Yeah, because I was gonna say one of the weaknesses is for this deck, not as bad anymore, but it's still pretty bad. But you're going to have to master your mulligan because if you don't mulligan properly, you're going to be at the mercy of the top deck. And if you don't draw what you need, you just like lose. Be Our Guest helps a lot because you get to, let me take a look here. So it's a 2-drop song. You get to dig, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card and put it into your hand and put the rest at the bottom of your deck. So you have 12 cards that are not characters. So 48 options. On average, you're going to see a pretty healthy amount of characters. So this should help you dig to get the cards you really need and really want.
Yeah.
I like that.
Let's do that then. Let's take out the Surfer Stitch and put in the Be Our Guest instead.
All right, cool. Any other adjustments you want to make here?
Do you have any suggestions? Anyone?
It's looking pretty good.
I think your deck is pretty good.
I feel pretty confident in it, but I just wanted to make sure and get some.
Yeah, I think this deck is going to thrive in multiplayer because everyone else is going to be butting heads for like dominance. And you're just going to be sitting there and be like, oh yeah, here's my Flynn Rider I quest. Yeah. Here's my Cheshire Cat I quest. Oh, here's my Hot Hantons I quest. I'm also at 15 lore.
Yeah.
What?
Next turn I win.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say? I'm at 15 lore.
And then you're like, oh, we got to kill her. But wait, all of her characters, like, they're 5. Oh, wait.
Yeah. It's like, wait, so if I kill your Cheshire Cat, I die. And if I attack your Flynn Rider, I have to discard a card. What the heck, man?
It sounds perfect to me. I'm excited for this. I'm really excited to play this.
Oh man, I'm so excited to play her deck.
Oh yeah,
so
excited.
All right, what is the name of this deck? We got to give it a name. Gotta name the baby.
I know.
Yeah, y'all can chime in. This is the fun part.
Yeah, you can chime in.
Either Hawaiian roller coaster ride or no touchy.
Okay, I think. Well, which one sounds better to you? Those are both great names.
Those are both great.
Those are great.
I think I'm gonna go with the no touchy.
Okay, no touchy.
No touchy.
With an exclamation point. No touchy.
Yes.
Yeah, no one's gonna want to touch that. I don't want to touch this deck.
I do not want to touch your deck.
Well, there goes my deck name, man. No.
His deck name is just going to be like mean.
No, it's not mean actually. So I kind of have one ready, and the reason being is up until this crazy amount of releases, I had built an emerald, a ruby deck. That
Ooh, are those the colors you're going to play with tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, all right.
And it is a little no touchy because it's got a lot of evasive cards in it.
All right, so what cards are in your deck? We'll build it and then assess it.
Yeah, so I had now some cards have come out since then, so I've already saw some cards that I'm like, ooh, I'd love to put in there instead. But I had the Strutter Stuff Minnie Mouse because she's just, I like that. Then Duke of Weston, 4 of each of those. I have
Weaseltown.
Weaseltown.
Yeah. Weaselton. I'm a what did he say? I'm a spry chicken.
Yeah. My bad. I had Gaston, but I would actually change Gaston out for Flynn Rider.
Ooh.
I had Gaston just because like I wanted something that could remove, but I found out I never ever wanted to play him. So it didn't.
A dangerous pastime, I know.
Yeah. Because like the thing about Gaston is he doesn't have any lore.
Well, I mean, but he's a nice 4. It's like
it
playing
is nice.
Smash
It is
in
nice.
some way. Like,
He's a missile. You just throw him at someone. You chuck him. Do you even lift, bro? I
Yeah,
wish I could.
yeah,
I just need a
exactly.
Sharpie. I'm gonna like cross out his flavor text and write in. Do you even lift, bro?
Yes.
And then 4 Corellas, just because
Okay,
I absolutely love Corella, that you have to make a decision there, and sometimes it's not great.
What else?
And then I had I would actually remove Peter Pan for Abu now that Abu's out. I like the two lore.
Got it. Okay.
It also is very tough too because the Aladdin was a tough one right there to put in too. Because you have the Stitch Aladdin and Ruby. But no, I would go Abu, and then I would go next would be Hans. Again,
he's got hot hands.
yes. and also the cat, Cheshire Cat, would be in there as well.
I'm gonna have to play against 2 green decks.
Mm-hmm.
My main man, the kitty.
And then Pongo. So what it goes is it starts out early, kind of like, okay, you can remove things, but I'm going to remove things, and then it goes into a really evasive package of Pongo and of course Goofy and Tigger, all, and then Genie.
Okay, I like this. We got the Goof crew over here.
Yep, and then I go with a Dragonfire for removal, and also Beast is a little bit of removal because Beast just you drop him down and you can kill things.
Okay, all right.
And then at the how many cards do I have right now?
Over 6,000.
Yeah, over 6,000.
No, you have 52.
Okay. So this is about right where it was. And then I have 2 of Mickey Mouse, Brave Little Tailor.
Okay.
Not a 4-drop, just because I don't always see that. But I think I want to say I had that, and I had 2 of Maleficent too.
Okay, all right.
Just as the high end, just kind of 2 cards that could one that could be evasive and really quest, but also one that could still remove things and still do some damage. That leaves me about 56, I believe.
Yep, you got 4 more cards.
I know I had had Peter Pan in at one time just because of the evasive aspect of the deck. I would be good with Peter Pan again, I think, or maybe Fan the Flames too.
Both are great cards.
I know it's tough. I've got the 1-drop. I've got 2 or 4 or 8 cards, but I'm just because the one's inkable too, they're both inkable actually, aren't they? Yeah. Well, let's go with the 4 Peter Pans, and then I'll take any kind of advice because I know there's other things in there. I looked at the green Mickey as well.
Do you have Aladdin in there?
I don't. Aladdin. I think when I was kind of playing around with the deck, I played it with both Aladdin and.
Well, because I was thinking you could put in the baby Aladdin and then the bigger one that shifts.
Yeah,
we don't have the Aladdin package right here. We're just playing the evasive.
Yeah, because since it's evasive, I didn't want to get too tricky.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what I found was it just was, of course, Genie's great. When you start getting Genies out, it just starts really frustrating the opponent. But the fun thing is a Genie or a Dragonfire, like you can kind of choose, like, okay, that doesn't really hurt me to go back to his hand. This one hurts me because he's going to hurt me later, so I'm going to kill him with Dragonfire.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Dragonfire is I find that a really good card.
It's really good.
It's a very good card. All right, so let's look at our cost curve here before we start making.
I'm interested to see that. Yeah, I can't.
So our 1-drops and our 2-drops, we have 8 cards.
Yeah.
3-drops, we have 12. 4-drops, we have 8. 5-drops, we have 12. 6-drops, we have 8. So basically, it's either we have 8 of a number or 12 of a number.
Gotcha.
And then we have 2 8-drops and 2 9-drops.
Yeah.
So our curve is pretty flatlined. It jumps up a little bit on 3-cost and 5-cost cards. Looking at the deck as is, you've got a couple packages in here. So you've got the bounce package with Cruella de Vil as well as Genie. You're running the evasive list. So you've got a evasive at 3, 4, 5, and 6, which would be Peter Pan at 3, Pongo at 4, Goof at 5, and then at 6 you've got Genie and Tigger. So you've got a nice lineage of
that won a lot of games cards right there.
Yeah, that's hard to deal with. Your early game stuff, you're looking at Cruella de Vil at 2 as well as Flynn at 2, really annoying. Your 1-drops are Minnie and Weaselton. So just a 2/2 and a 1/3. Nothing special.
No.
You just have, you have a defensive answer in Minnie and an offensive answer in Duke, depending on what they're playing. 3 drops. This is an interesting place. So Cheshire Cat gives you 2 lore. So does Abu. Peter Pan gives you evasive.
I know. That's where I thought about dropping Peter Pan and putting Abu in instead.
So here's the question. I don't think we've identified the skeleton of the deck because it's kind of all over the place. Are you wanting to stick with the evasive package? Or are you wanting to do something else? Because you've made some decisions based on lore, but you also have all the evasive. So I'm trying to figure out what you are wanting to do.
So my thought
here.
on this deck was early on, the idea is let's get as much lore as we can and make them make decisions to kill my things. Which in turn, if they do that, they are going to lose something and they're losing lore. But if they let me to continue to quest, say with Cheshire Cat, or even with like a Han or Flynn Rider, which I didn't have at the time, but even like a Hans, when Hans comes in, they have to almost attack. But then here I come with evasive.
Yeah. So do you want to run that evolution? I call them evolution lines because there's just no like good terminology on right now, really.
I like that.
So you have this evolution line of evasives, but you also have this interesting like aggressive lore package because you could do like Cheshire Cat turn 3, Hans turn 4. You don't really have anything outside. Like Goofy's kind of a turn 5. You have Beast, Wolfbane. I'm not loving that one particularly.
That's more. Beast is basically the reason I had put him in there was basically just for removal. That if I had to get rid of something, one, people don't probably expect it in this package, so they're questing with something that I can kill with 4. So there's many times I'd kill something that I don't think they would have ever maybe even went on a quest with if they thought I had something to kill it. That seemed to happen quite a bit. But
that's fair.
But I also, there was times I didn't use him. So I was like, no, I would say too, out of all the cards, he is the most cuttable.
I would maybe drop him to 2 because he's more of a tech.
Yeah, that's true. You're not using him
consistently.
I like that. Let's drop him to 2.
Okay. Also, he is uninkable, so
yeah,
you've got Genie. I don't think there's many
non-inkables. I think it's got quite a bit of inkable stuff.
It's Genie and Beast. Let me see here if there's anything else. So right now it's Genie, Beast, and Dragonfire. So you have 8, 9, 10 cards that are non-inkable. So a 1/6 of your deck, which is fine. That's not dangerous territory at all. So then if we get past turn 5, turn 6 is Tigger or Genie. Great cards. Turn 7 is Naked. No 7 drops.
I definitely thought in a what I thought about was in a multiplayer type setting, be prepared.
Be prepared. It's really good.
To be. It always
we could put 2 of them in. You have space for 2.
Yeah. So I thought about instead of Maleficent, be prepared if I'm playing multiplayer. If I'm not playing multiplayer, maybe Maleficent.
So let's have an honest talk. How many times have you actually played Maleficent or Brave Little Tailor?
Brave Little Tailor I have played quite a few times. So
how about Maleficent?
In the testing that I had, Maleficent I could cut. I'm not. I mean, that is a pretty easy cut.
Has she ever hit the table?
No.
Okay. Do you want to keep her? Let's
crack her. She's gone.
Okay, so you've got 2
slots.
Not
like I should talk smack to a dragon, but she's gone.
So do you want Be Prepared in the list? Because you've got 56 cards, so you have 4 slots open right now.
That or no, I don't do that. Mickey Mouse just doesn't. There's not synergy with this deck at all. I would just put it in another third circle around. John Silver. I was trying to think of some other cards.
I think you should put in Mother Knows Best.
You're right. Because they're going to have to hit my evasive with direct damage. And that's the only way they can hit it. So, or another evasive card. So if I'm playing a Tinkerbell deck, I'm going to be able to heal things because they're probably not killing some of those with Tinkerbell and then a Grab Your Swords. Like it's gonna have to be like a grab your swords and a smash or something.
Well, also if you see a potential shift, like 1-2 combo, so if you go first, no, if you go second, so they play the Tinkerbell, and you know that they're about to shift up to Tinker Bomb, you could bounce her and put them back by a turn.
Yeah.
Now it also puts you back by a turn, but they'll have 4 ink, you'll have 4 ink, so
yeah, exactly.
Maybe it'll have something to do, but I mean, like a turn is a turn. Like that could be pretty drastic because you also get to quest with your characters on board before they get blown off pretty quick.
For sure.
Also, it helps you answer things you don't like.
Yeah, I actually do like Mother Know Best, I think, is a card that would be fine.
So you're at 60 right now. We could still make some cuts. The big question, honestly, is do you want Be Prepared in the deck at all? And if so, how many copies do you want?
Yeah, I actually don't think I do. The deck was working the other day without it, so that came out after it. So I think I'd stick with, this is a pretty core that I would stick with. And yeah, it is kind of scattered in the sense that you're starting out luring, but then you're finishing off evasive. So
that's okay.
I'm sure you're a little like me too sometimes, where it's like you like that surprise deck that nobody else is playing. You're just like, oh, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, you have those 2 genies and those 2 BLTs to kind of surprise. So like if you go to the late game, Mickey BLT is just like, hey, if you don't have hard removal, I win.
You've lost.
Beast can actually put people in an awkward place.
Yeah.
Especially in multiplayer, because if someone pops Tinker Bomb, Beast can kill anything he wants minus bodyguard. So that's a really interesting diplomatic place to be. It's like, hey, y'all have 1 damage. I've got a beast. Who doesn't want to attack me? You're like, uh-oh, wait a minute. Hold up. We negotiating now, fam. Like y'all are very vulnerable to also you can use beast to trade into others. So if you're playing a deck that doesn't have evasive and there's a bunch of like ping damage from Tinker Bomb, you can just slap beast down. And then you can use like your Goofy, your Tigger, your Pongo. You can trade into them. They can't trade back into you.
Exactly. That's fun.
But again, you don't want to rely on that because it's just not super common.
No.
It's a very situational thing that may or may not happen in multiplayer. It definitely doesn't work in single player. Like 1v1, that just
honestly, when I was playing it, the strategy was this: like get as much lore out early and then just finish it off with evasive. And it was working quite well. And like I said, and then having Dragonfire too, being being able to get rid of things and just keep yourself ahead was huge too. You know how a 9-game sample can be. It's not necessarily means the deck is good. You may play the next 9 games and never win. But I like the way it was playing. So
yeah, evasive is a legitimately good package. It's fun.
So naming it.
What are the weaknesses here? We haven't addressed those.
And
everyone can kick in here.
What I found, what happened was many times if I didn't have my lower cost cards and I didn't get lore early, it made the game a lot harder to win. I mean, again, Genie does a lot of things, but you need that early 5 to 6 lore. You want to be able to at least get Kristoff, or is it Kristoff? No, Hans at least once. But if you didn't have those, that definitely was a kind of a tight.
You got to stay on curve. You have to hit curve.
You do.
You're susceptible to removal because if your opponent realizes what you're doing, they can keep you off curve with early game removal. And sure, you played a body, but now, hey, your Flynn Rider, he didn't do anything. Hey, your Cheshire Cat, he didn't do anything. Or they wait for your Hans. You play Hans. It's like, cool, here's a smash. Oh, and now you're technically down 1 point of ink because you paid 4, they paid 3. So yeah, you're really susceptible to removal. However, I would say you can also replenish your board pretty consistently.
Yeah, it did quite a bit. It did that many times. So and then controlling them late was great too. That Dragonfire and Aladdin combo is just really, really good.
Yeah, this is a really, really mid-range to late game deck. You're not winning the early game.
No,
you just can't.
No, and you're struggling with a rush deck. It's definitely, I don't think I played many rush decks, so that's
another thing that definitely will hurt it. So
yeah, you're gonna struggle against weenies. However, Mother Knows Best. So what's really cool is you've got Mother Knows Best and Genie to keep them off tempo for say like a Stitch Turbo, and then you can keep digging until you hit Dragonfire, and then if they slap down that character, it's like cool Dragonfire to the face. You're like,
yep, bye.
Yeah, so you set them up for failure slowly.
Yep.
And then you just quest into the sun.
Oh yeah, like at the end of the game with the evasive guys, it was just like, okay, good night.
Yeah, what is it? You've got a boy in spandex, 2 dogs, a tiger, and a ghost just winning the game. That should be a band name right there.
Yeah.
All right, so I like the deck. What do you think? Are you liking this? Is this?
Yeah, I do actually. Good? I think I like, and I really like the Gaston for Flynn Rider, and
Flynn is so good
for Peter Pan, because at Peter Pan's level, evasive really doesn't. I mean, it gives me a lore.
Here's a question: we have both Peter Pan and Abu. Do you want to drop Peter Pan here?
Also, I still have Peter Pan in the list.
You do still have Peter Pan here, yes.
I was trying to think what else at 3.
You've got Aladdin and Jasper. Those are 2 pretty gnarly. You've got Iago.
Yeah, I actually, let's go Jasper to get some control.
Okay.
Let's do that. And he's got 4 health, so he survives the Tinkerbell bomb.
Yeah, he's a thick boy for a skinny dude.
Let's do Jasper instead of Peter Pan, because I really don't think the evasive matters as much at 3 as much as when you start hitting 4, 5, 6.
I actually like Jasper late game, because if they've got a 3 lore quester, you just drop Jasper and go, hey, you don't get to do anything. They're like,
and the nice thing is if he plays mid game, he survives a lot more times than anything else would, because he's got that lore.
You get 1 lore. You're probably going to stop them from questing with at least 2. So it's probably a 3-point swing with Jasper.
Yeah.
I can't believe they printed this card uncommon. I was like, what in the world? This is like a 2/4 that quests for 1 and locks you down?
And like in draft.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Being uncommon on top of that, like, whew.
Yeah, just a 2/4 for 3 is good.
Yeah,
and then it's like, but you also don't get to play the game.
Yeah, you don't get to play next turn. So.
Oh, take my money. Woohoo.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that tech. That's good.
Now I got to figure out a name.
Yeah, we got to name the baby.
Can't touch this.
Dun-na-na-na.
Can't touch this.
We're open to names from the audience here.
Everybody here, we can.
All I could really think about was can't touch this. Allow it to come out of your names.
I'm trying to think of something with like a peculiar bunch, because it really is a peculiar bunch.
It is a peculiar bunch.
Tigger and Goofy remind me of the same, but other than that, and Genie, I guess too. But
it's a bunch of misfits,
I think I'm going to go to Misfits. I like the Misfits.
Okay, the Misfits.
I mean, we've got Frozen down there. We've got the original. Here's Minnie Mouse, and then you've got like Flynn, Corella. Like, there's definitely
the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. You got a monkey in there and a boo.
you just throw the monkey at people as a distraction, like a boo.
Yeah. You literally got a monkey, a cat, a dog, and a dragon. So
a mouse.
The Misfits.
You got quite a bit going on
there. We've got a monster. We've got a ghost. A couple dogs. A German. 2 Germans. A British guy.
It's the Misfits.
Yeah, it's Mr. Worldwide. They're from all places.
Yep.
And, dimensions.
They all one common place.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
That was fun.
It is fun, and now you're gonna have to play these decks.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it.
How it goes.
We'll actually record it and we'll post it. So.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, I've already saved them to the Lorcania.com, and I'll post them on Twitter. Everyone can find these decks.
Actually, really easy. Send them over to us on Twitter if you want to just shoot those over.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot those over.
So what did you think? What was your favorite part of deck construction?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story, because I know like one of the things I know time's sake, we're running out of time for sure. We went pretty far along, but one thing that when I first learned about deck construction was when I played Pokemon. That was the first trading card game I ever played. We played around the same kitchen table we're sitting right now. And I tried to talk people into playing. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, there's leagues. So we went to our first league challenge, and my deck got I was winning here at home. I'm like, yeah, I'm beating these guys some. And I'm like, I got humiliated. It was
I was
just
10, by the way. So,
Yeah, he was 10.
So
He
him
was
saying
10,
that he
so-
beat me wasn't
it wasn't
saying
much. I was beating up my kids and my friends that didn't really care. They were just, I was like, I want to play this game. It's fun. And so I went to this and I just 0-3, like it was just like, and then a buddy of mine was like, hey, can I look at your deck? And he was like, well, he's a buddy now. At the time I didn't know him. And he looks through my deck. He's like, that sucks. That stinks. That's horrible. That's a bad card. This is a bad card. That's a bad card. He's like, oh my goodness, dude, you're a horrible deck builder. And he was a real fun guy to play. So he was being very sarcastic, but he was also like, hey, Thanksgiving weekend, come to my house. And I went over and he's like, here's 4 copies of N. Here's 4 copies of this. Here's 4 copies of this. That's like your deck structure of most of your decks. And he's like, that'll get you a start. And he's, he's talking about things like consistency, like 4 of cards. And, just playing cards that cost that you could play and having the right amount of energies in Pokemon, which would be, the nice thing about this is you have ink. You always have ink in your hand, but having curve, like I learned curve later on and when I started playing some Magic and stuff. But it's just like, to me, that was the coolest thing about deck building and getting that was like, he was just like, oh, bad. But he was right. Like I had no clue what I was doing. And part of it was just consistency.
I personally really enjoyed being able to learn how to do all this in a fun way and a good way.
I kind of just like naming it.
He's like, I just like giving birth to these things.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I really enjoyed learning how to like find what I like my niche in the game, and
That's
then
always fun.
learning how to create something around that. I thought that was really cool. I
And-
never really took to it that way.
and people coming in the game, just have fun. Like it's that's a huge part. Like build those decks that are completely inconsistent because you absolutely love the characters you do, and get around people that understand it and just ask questions.
Yeah, I think another important thing is what we just did is something that makes trading card games and just games in general fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's community. Like,
Oh, yes. Oh,
this is something you should be doing with friends at your local game store
mhm,
on whatever night your locals are going to be doing Lorcana.
mhm.
If you
Yeah.
don't know how to build decks, go talk to friends.
Yeah.
If you're good at building decks, help your friends. And sometimes it's just fun to like kick around a random idea and go, hey, I'm thinking about this like weird Sapphire Ruby list. Let's try it.
Mhm.
Oh no, that is terrible. Wait a minute. But we discovered that maybe this like 3-card combo works really well, and we can integrate that into a different version. Again, evolution of decks is a part of the experience. No one ever just shows up and builds a deck and it wins worlds. You have to play 10s, 20, 100 copies,
Yeah.
and you start making adjustments, and then you play another 100 games. You make more adjustments. That's the fun of it. You play over and over and over, and you find this evolution until you get to the point where you want it to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, how does my deck win? Like, okay, I'm going to play that 20 times against this other deck that's really popular and just see, how do I figure out how to win that game? Or
Right.
maybe I've got to take 4 cards out just to adapt to that. And it's just, it's just fun to be around people. And I can't wait, teach a kid, never played a trading card game, how to play the game, help them with building a deck, giving them cards, and then like seeing it come alive for them. I think that even with my kids in Pokemon, it was fun to watch them as they got things, and it's fun to watch them when they're like, oh, that worked. That's really cool. So
Yeah, this was absolutely super fun. Secretly, this is like my favorite thing to do with trading card games is just sit down with friends and go, let's build a deck.
yeah.
No, let's not do that. Let's do this. Wait, what about this? Oh my gosh, I forgot about this card. Oh my gosh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah. Like when you're like, oh my word, that synergy works. Like, wow, I didn't even think of that. And then they're like,
Yeah. 4 heads are better than 1
Yeah.
million times.
Cool. Well, thank you for having us on, man.
Well, yeah, that's a great time to say we're done. We have wrapped this up. We've got 3 decks. We will post in the show notes all the information. But again, why don't you tell all of our listeners who you are and where they can find you?
So we're Just Ink It. Again, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. I think with a lot of the content creators that are out there, I know LorcanaCast, you could find us right through their Twitter if you wanted to. But Just Ink It and Lorcana together in YouTube and Twitter will find our page. We do a weekly podcast where we talk about a bunch of different things, but we usually talk about the cards that came out. And then we've been doing some tier lists just because that's a lot of fun too. And then just usually have some kind of trivia or question. And yeah, we're just excited and we want to have some more guests on. We loved having you on. But yeah, we just are all about, hey, let's see what we can do to build community. We're just going to try to make our podcast and our gameplay videos better and better. And yeah, just grow the channel, grow the community. That's the overall goal is really, that's the fun part about it. So.
That is so awesome. All right, quick question before we go. Are you doing a episode before Gen Con?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we'll
Okay.
have one or two more.
Can you give us a hint as to what we might be getting to listen to then?
On our next episode, I'm sure we've got a crazy amount of cards to talk
I'm
about
sure.
because we do love to just talk about the cards. I know that's kind of the generic thing everybody does, but we really have tried to cover every card since we've came into the game. So that's one thing. I think we are going to finish up our rides tier list. Last week I think we have 15 left because we did when we went to Disneyland. Me and Leah and Tiff actually did ride. I think just about every ride. Yeah. So we're going to finish that up. Our movies tier list is kind of on pause till we watch some more movies
Because we have not watched a lot
as many as we could. So we have that a little bit on pause. And so we might actually cut to and make sure, because we've kind of been going a little longer on the podcast as we started to do it. So what we might do is we may actually just include the footage of this 3-player game with these 3 decks. So I think maybe we'll talk a little bit of afterthought of deck building with I almost said your name wrong again. Sugi.
Yeah.
Why do I want to call you Surgy? Like you're a surge protector. Like Surgy.
I don't know. I do protect, not that way though.
And I just can't wait to meet all you guys. I think I saw we're meeting at the Colt Stadium and going somewhere to jam some games maybe.
Yeah, that is the game plan. We'll definitely meet before and after that.
Oh yeah. We'll see you Thursday. When's your game? Your deck building challenge?
My pod and Chris we're doing the first pod on Thursday morning.
Okay, well we'll be
lucky.
cheerleading,
yes,
man. We'll be cheering for you guys.
Oh, thank you. And then Skeff has Friday.
Gotcha. Well, you have to win it so we can have you on the podcast. No pressure at all.
I know we're going to do our best, but at the same point, like I'd rather have fun than like crush someone's soul at Gen Con. Like, welcome to your first Lorcana event. Like there's no money or anything crazy on the line. So, like, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna do my best. Yeah.
Which means you might win it because when you're most relaxed, sometimes that's when you play the best cards.
Oh yeah. I completely agree.
That's the truth. I've won in tournaments where I'm
Absolutely.
like, all right, I'm gonna do so well, and I've tested like crazy, and I go in and I'm like, oh wow, I owe 3 dropped.
Yeah, whoopsie.
And then other ones where I'm like, I'm just gonna be a dad this weekend, and like, oh wow, I finished I got a top 8 place. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's important. You got to have fun. You got to just stay cool, calm, and collected.
You do.
When are your pods? Oh wait, no, you have the learn to plays, right?
We don't have a learn to plays. We didn't get in the pods, which is fine.
Okay.
I'm hoping still a miracle happens or something crazy. Like I'm hoping if Lorcana's listening to this, you can add Brad Weaver.
When's your learn to play so we can play some decks?
Friday morning. So,
okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring all of our proxy cards because we figure there's gonna be a lot of people there that will have proxy cards.
That's fair.
So we're gonna
we'll have to do some starter deck challenges amongst ourselves.
100%. That would be a blast. I can't wait. And I feel like those on Thursday. We're hoping. I haven't.
Yeah. You can buy a couple, but it's like I feel like those decks probably perform really well in multiplayer.
Oh yeah. I think so too.
I'm so excited.
It's just, dude, it's gonna be beautiful, and then we're gonna see each other in tournaments going forward. I'm sure we'll see each other in different spots, and it's just gonna be a blast.
We got to go get a meal. You got to come with us.
100%.
You got to eat because the LorcanaCast team, we're the big kids. We like to eat the good food.
Oh, we're
well insulated. We're the big spoon.
People.
I'm a foodie.
Yep.
We are foodies.
Yep, we're getting some food for sure. There's a couple really cool places there actually that they completely transformed for Gen Con. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll go off campus. We'll have a nice quiet dinner or lunch.
Awesome.
Then we'll play some games. Well, I mean, so here's a cool thing we haven't told many people about. We have a house that we're renting, an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing my entire studio setup. So we're going to have a place to play and stream games live.
Sweet. Let's do it.
So we're going to be inviting people to just come over and play games and post it up on the interwebs.
Where's the Airbnb and compare it? We're like
10 minutes away.
We're like northwest.
I think it's like west northwest. It's not
Cool.
super far
So
away.
we might not be far from each other. So
Oh, that's
Probably
awesome.
Maybe
not.
we're next door neighbors.
yeah. I'll actually
Very,
have
very
my van.
possible.
So if you want to hitch a ride down one day too, and we can share parking instead of having to park, multiple things. So
Okay, I think we were talking about just Ubering because it's just
it's
so much cheaper.
It is.
But yeah, we're gonna have some serious fun doing some off-site Lorcana
Sweet.
stuff.
Love it. Well, hey,
So yeah,
we
that's
love you
it.
guys' channel. We love you guys, and I can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, it's exciting. So thank you everyone for joining us. That is the end of the show. We will see you all next time. So remember, Ohana means family, which means nobody gets left behind and nobody gets forgotten.
Just like